Welcome back to episode 74 of Working Towards Our Purpose. In today's episode, we are going to talk about laziness and why you're not lazy. But before we get into that, we're going to do our normal check-in and take a moment to see how we're feeling and just check in with ourselves. So let's take a moment now. Yeah, I don't know about you. I'm feeling a little rushed, I guess, because of the holidays and just trying to get everything done and end of the year type thing. But trying to stay focused on my tasks and getting everything done. But yeah, feeling a little, I guess, stressed out because of that. But that's okay because we're here. And today I kind of have a shorter episode for you. I think it's going to be ending up, and not like a normal 5-step type thing, but more just sort of a simple thought. And I want to talk about laziness because I feel like it came up at some point this week. And I just wanted to talk about like what is laziness, and I guess kind of start off with a story of when I was working my first corporate job. I remember my boss at the time sort of came over to like our little cubicle area, and there was probably, I think there was like 3 of us or 4 of us there. And he kind of like rolled this chair in, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was basically saying like I was lazy, or I was insinuating that I was lazy. And I remember getting like really bothered and upset by that, not only because he was saying it in front of all my coworkers, but the fact that I thought it was like completely not true. And I remember saying like I'm not lazy and I don't like that word and I don't want to be called that and stuff like that. And I remember his face just being like, okay, whatever, it's just a word, who cares? But I took it as like a sort of a personal attack, I guess. And that just made me realize that like I guess I didn't want to be called lazy or didn't want to be perceived as lazy. And yeah, it's interesting how like my perspective of like growing up thinking like I was a hard worker and stuff, and then him seeing me as, I mean, he must have thought that I was lazy for some reason. He brought it up. But there's sort of that like disconnect of like how I felt and how he felt. And I think that now looking back, that you can be like, I don't think anybody is really lazy. I think laziness is a word used to describe like not being interested in something or not caring about something. And I think at that time, there was probably something I was supposed to be working on that like I just didn't really care about. So I don't think laziness is like an inherent trait. It's more so just a non-interest in what you're doing, and you don't care about what you do. You're not passionate about what you do. And so I think laziness can be like mistaken as a personal trait. And I just want to talk about that a little bit because, when you find something that you care about, I don't think you're ever really lazy about it. Like if you're really into a sport or like reading or something, like you're not going to be lazy about that. Like you wouldn't think of yourself as lazy towards that. But if it comes to like a job that you don't really care about, then it's much easier to be lazy because you don't want to be doing it. So I think that this idea of laziness can sometimes be harmful because I've not myself personally, but I've definitely like had conversations with people who believe themselves as lazy and almost kind of take it as like a prideful thing. Like, oh, I'm too lazy to do that. And, obviously we can feel free to feel however we want about ourselves, but I think that it could be a negative thing. And like, if you've been told, throughout school and stuff that you're lazy, and now you create this image of yourself as lazy, then it could be detrimental to you, growing up when there is maybe something that you want to do, but you just believe that you're inherently lazy, so you can't do it. I just think that it's kind of a negative, damaging mindsets to have. And it's not a personal trait, because I think, you can use the example of like reading as proving like why you can't be lazy. I hated reading in school, and it was because I was forced to read things that I didn't want to read. And I didn't know that there was things out there that I would enjoy reading. So I thought of myself as somebody who like doesn't read or can't read, and will never like enjoy that. But then I found books that I did enjoy and I learned from and I liked. And now I consider myself a reader. So it's kind of in the same way I think of laziness. It's not an inherent trait. Like, just because you don't read doesn't mean it's because you can't. It's because you haven't found something that you liked. And I think that like being lazy doesn't mean that you're a lazy person. It just means you haven't found the thing that you've liked. So, and the thing that you've liked to work towards. And I think that can be frustrating too. Like when maybe you're doing a job and somebody calls you lazy, and I find myself like being frustrated, and it's like, I'm not lazy. I don't want to not work. I just don't want to do this thing because it doesn't align with my values. It doesn't make sense to me at the end of the day. Maybe it seems like a pointless task altogether. So yeah, I think, that being said, like maybe if you do feel like you're lazy, I think it's just a reshifting of like thinking about like what it is that you do care about, and trying to see yourself as not lazy. So yeah, I've just been thinking about that recently, and yeah, thinking about like jobs and stuff like that. And yeah, it's not that there is a laziness, but it's just trying to find something that you care about. So I don't know, hopefully that helps somebody out there. And maybe makes you think differently about laziness, that it's not an inherent trait about you as a person. It's just a matter of finding alignment in the things that you care about. And yeah, so shorter episode today, kind of just wanted to get that thought out there. And yeah, I think that's all I got for you today. I think it's just one last time. I think it's important that people don't believe themselves as lazy. So just wanted to say that, and hope you had a good holiday, and I will see you on another episode real soon. Take care.